We got everything over here but cleaner. What up, though? We're cluing down for the Choice Clean Sneaker Care, and this is StockX 101, a series where we teach you the ins and outs of sneaker and streetwear culture, including sneaker care and education, to help make your StockX experience more enjoyable.
Clean Sneaker Care is a Detroit-based brand specializing in sneaker cleaning and restoration. We're dedicated to treating every pair of kicks we touch just like it's our own.
So you just got a fresh pair with the tags on it from StockX, and these are definitely going into your rotation.
Okay, is it military blue or is it industrial blue?
It's supposed to be military.
What's on the box? I'm going off. The box says military blue.
So we're gonna go with military. My first impressions are they are a little bit darker than I expected. Not just the blue, but just the uppers in general.
Yeah, I feel like the color, whenever we get the re-releases like year over year, you end up seeing like variations in color usually, right? I'm not mad at the blue,
which is normal.
But what's a little off to me was the upper itself, right? I think it used to be like a really crisp white leather, and this almost presents as like gray.
Yeah, it does. But I still think it's good because this type of material, these colors, is going to be easy to maintain. And I think that's something good when you think about the longevity of the sneaker. And I like how they switched to more of the SB version of the tabs.
Tab, yeah.
The rubber is a lot more easy to maintain. It's just better quality, I think, for this shoe. And I believe it's going to be one of those ones that doesn't crack up on you in the years to come. At least not as soon. This back tab would definitely crack up on you. But overall, what do you think? Is this a must-have for you?
I love 4s in general. I think like just the shape of a Jordan 4.
The height is perfect.
Right, like it's perfect, summer with shorts or even with like, pants or jeans. Like 4s are like a must-have in like the rotation for me. This is a color I actually don't have in the collection. I'll have like breads and fire reds, but like I definitely want to add these now.
So the big question is, the 2012 pair had the Jumpman logo on the back. Do you prefer the Jumpman logo or the Nike Air logo?
Nike Air all day. It has that retro like feel to it. I think it makes every Jordan feel more classic, right?
Yeah.
When you see that Nike Air like on the back, right? It just feels even better, And have you ever like actually like pulled the tongue down, like so you can see the Air Jordan inside of the tongue, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why they did it when they created it. But it's like I don't know who actually wears their tongue down enough for you to see it, right?
Yeah, no, I get that too. It's a cool detail, and this part actually gets really dirty. It's a detail that we make sure we don't miss while we're cleaning them. One thing I also noticed too is that this suede feels a little bit different. It feels thinner. I'm not gonna say that's a bad thing because it feels, still smooth. The texture is still pretty good, but it is not as thick as the last release. And this leather I think this toe box is gonna wear pretty well. The creasing is going to be crazy right here, but I think the shoe is going to look good semi-worn.
Yeah, I was like, what's some 4s without a little like mileage on them, right? Like you want them to kind of be broken in and feel good while also keeping them clean, right?
Right, exactly. Another question, do people put crease protectors in Jordan 4s?
The toe box on a Jordan 4 to me is already kind of narrow for, like a crease protector in there. It's like, do you want to be able to walk in your shoes or do you want to not have creases? You got to make a choice.
Yeah, I want to walk. They're going to crease regardless. You know what I mean? And that's why you call guys like us, so we can help take care of them, and we're going to show some tips to help you, enjoy these a little bit more.
All right, so these are going straight into the rotation, straight to the foot game, right? What steps do you take to prep them, get them prepared, so they're easier to clean and maintain?
Yeah, so the first thing you want to do is get a good protection spray. We got this really good one from Rejuvenator. And then what you want to do is make sure that you get a good even coat on the sneaker. I like to do this before I wear them every single time. It's only when they're clean though, only when they're clean. So you're going to take the bottle, get the top off obviously, then you're going to spray the shoe 6 to 8 inches away. You get a good nice even layer on top of the sneaker, and then you want to let this dry for about 15 minutes before you wear them. I like to get this done early so I can do 2 layers of it. So 15 minutes, let them dry, and then hit them another time, let them dry again, and then you'll be ready to go. And one thing to note about the protection spray is it's going to protect them, of course, but eventually they will get dirty. Things will pop up on them as far as stains, but it's going to help ease the process when you get to the cleaning part of it. So it's a must that you protect these.
Yeah, and 15 minutes is like cool, right? So like when you're figuring out your outfit and what you're wearing, you can like, hey, I'm starting with the shoes anyway, right? Like I'm
You
always
get dressed differently.
right. You always start with the shoes, right? So it's like, okay, check, spray them before you head out the door, get the rest of your fit together, and now you're ready for the streets. I've noticed that sometimes with like lighter colored shoes that are white leather and so on, like if you're wearing jeans with them, they can kind of bleed onto your shoes, and the repellent spray actually helps with a lot of those things too, right?
Yeah, it helps ease the pain some, if you will. I also just recommend if you're wearing a white leather, a white mesh, white linen, whatever, just don't wear denim at all with your sneakers unless you're gonna put big cuffs on them, because it's
Right.
once it touches, it's pretty much over. But the protection spray is gonna help, like I said earlier, it's gonna help ease the pain when you have to clean them and all that stuff. It's not gonna be as deep into the material because you got that layer is fighting off some of the fibers, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I think it's just a win for you to protect them beforehand. But keep denim away from your white sneakers, like, period.
Yeah, and so we're thinking about like the weather too, right? So like if you know that it's raining, right, you know, or it's snowing or something like that, right? Like this is also helping like take care of all of those types of precipitation as well.
Oh, for sure. And then when you got this suede right here, this light suede, you definitely want to make sure that you protect this, because when the stains get deep into here, eventually it might discolor. You know, so you want to keep this protected at all times so you can keep that texture, keep that smoothness. So when you do clean them, it's going to bounce back really quickly.
And I think that's an important piece about the different materials on the shoe, right? So we have the leather, you know, we have suede, we have rubber, right? So when treating suede, that's something that you definitely recommend, right? Like
Oh,
making sure
100%.
that you're protecting it.
100%. Yeah. Because this is a standout part of the sneaker. Like when you look at the color, like, yeah, we have like this grayish hue on top of here, but can you imagine just like permanent stains around this toe box? It's gonna make you not want to wear the shoe.
Yeah, it's nice.
And that's not what we want here. We want to make sure that you can wear them as long as possible.
All right, so you got your kicks, you've worn them a few times, couple scuffs, a little bit of dirt. What do you do next? Like, how do you get these back looking crisp?
First of all, these just came out, bro. Like, this is off maybe a few wears.
You had like a wild weekend or something.
Crazy, definitely. It was definitely a good weekend in the city for sure. But the first thing you want to do is assess, right? You know what I mean? Like, so what are we working with? We have leather uppers, we got the rubber midsole, we got the suede
toe box.
I think one of the biggest things you want to do after you assess is like, you know, first put some gloves on, because these boys are pretty dirty. And is this mud or is it something else? I don't know.
It could be, it could not be.
Exactly. You know what I mean? They didn't tell us. They just like, yo, they had a good time. You know what I mean? So we're going to put some gloves on because you don't want to touch stuff that you shouldn't be touching, you know. So one of the first things you want to do is like I said, we got different materials right here. We want to take just a dry, softer brush, and you want to get off any extra debris, because what's going to happen is, especially around the suede, if you just start cleaning like these,
The water gets into it. Yeah.
it's just going to make the stains even worse, and then you're going to be doing double the work. So you want to just like scrub off any and everything that you can right here. Another good notice, a lot of times people, they clean a sneaker with like a hard brush. The one thing I like to reshooting that brush is they're all labeled. They're different colors, so you can't make mistakes. You shouldn't make a mistake cleaning the shoe. You don't want to use the wrong brush. So this is a painted midsole. Anything that's a painted midsole, you want to use like a soft or a medium.
Different textures.
So you won't be,
Yeah.
so you won't peel the paint off. I don't care how good the quality is. That stiff brush will take the paint off the shoe. And then anybody that has any pairs of Jordan 4s, this white paint just cracks
Yeah.
like crazy without you doing anything. So if you use a hard brush, it's definitely going to do that. So after you get the debris off, we got a couple different things that we can do. So one of the first things that we see when you're wearing a sneaker as we're doing the spot cleaning is you get like these dirty spots from driving, right? Your shoe is sitting,
heel pressed
your
down.
heel's pressed down.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing.
Or even just taking your shoes off when you get home. How people can
Exactly.
take them off, right?
People do kick them off. Stop
Yeah.
doing that. Like, stop stepping on your shoes to kick them off. You know what I mean? It's not good. We have plenty of videos where we show people, especially designer sneakers, where they step on the back of them and they wonder why they get messed up. The color of the outsole is on the heel of the sneaker, and I'm like, yo, it's 1 plus
You're
1
literally
equals 2.
stepping- you're
Yeah,
stepping
no,
on
for
your
sure.
own shoe.
So it's a couple different things that I like to do. The coolest thing right now that we can use is this sponge by Rejuvenator. You can get a lot of uses out of here, but all we gotta do is wet it, and then we can scrub off a lot of these spots. So I'm gonna start with that first because it just makes it super simple.
So
And I'm
you
getting
always
old.
start with the outsole first?
outsole first.
Right, okay.
You want to clean the dirtiest part of the sneaker first. So if the bottom is muddy, you can knock that out first. So then when you
Right.
get to the uppers, you're not like spreading dirty water onto the sneaker, you know what I mean? Also, I have 2 bowls right here. So once we do the dirty stuff and we got to go back in to finish them off, we can do it with clean water. So we're going to just dip this brush, or sponge rather. It's not a brush. I like how this is branded, yo. That's kind of dope. And then we're just going to scrub. And this is literally coming right off. Just that first little,
You can see
there is crazy. So you can legit just go in. I can probably do the whole uppers with these. We're just gonna do a spot clean, but we can kind of go crazy.
And this is like a newer Rejuvenator product, right?
Yeah.
It's like any a sponge
It's
eraser
just
type
right.
of situation.
Yeah, this is not like new to the world. People
Yeah.
have been using sponges forever, but to have one that's directly made for sneakers is really good, because this is not a one and done. Like, I can clean most of this shoe with this, and then I can just rinse it out, and then we can use it again. You can cut them up to make smaller portions. It's a lot of different stuff that you can do. So,
And this is like an easy spot clean. You can do this middle of the week when you just got off of work, when you just got home from school type of thing, and like just keep your kicks looking fresh throughout the week.
that's exactly it. I use cleaning sneakers as therapy. That's how I pretty much got started. You had a long day, or you got some free time. You want to get away from the kids for a second. For some reason, my kids don't bother me when I'm cleaning shoes. It's weird. Like, it's like they're running when you're in the bathroom and all that stuff, which is wild. But when I'm cleaning shoes, they're like, "Oh, Dad is busy." It's like, I was busy in the bathroom. Like, so we're just gonna scrub this. So as you can see, we got most of this stuff off.
Yeah, it's
like,
coming off.
Yeah, that's really good. So that's one thing that we can do. Can you pass me a
Yeah,
towel,
for sure.
please, sir?
And would you say like that's a part of maintenance, right? It's like kind of like maintain them throughout the week or throughout the life cycle of the sneaker, so they don't get so soiled, right?
Exactly. And you think about like retailing these, what, $220?
Right.
You know, you should be protecting your investment by just keeping up with them. You know what I mean? I think that's the least you can do, especially if you want these to last. And if you're gonna wear them, some people like sneakers that have some character, some creasing, for them to have some wear. That's fine, but this is gonna damage the shoe. You know what I mean? These materials might get hard, stiff, all that stuff or whatever. So you want to make sure that that's not happening. So the next part of this shoe is we want to get this suede part, right? You want to make sure we hit that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with an eraser. We're going to dry clean it, and we're just going to hit these spots right here and get some of that stuff off to help break it down. And you can see too that this is also coming right off.
And like dry cleaning it for the suede, it's like you want to go with like the least amount of water on that type of material.
But sometimes you can get away with no water.
Yeah.
Actually. And just like right now, like this could be one of those times where we can get away with no water. But because this was like muddy and stuff, you want to do it. But you can see like here, we have the motion of the suede still, which is what you want. But also too, like it's getting really clean, but I can still see some spots there. So we're just going to keep going around with this part and then get that stuff off. And then if you do this before you apply any solution, then it's going to allow for the cleaning process just to go
Even better.
a lot smoother. Yeah, so it's going to be less touch-ups and all those things, and it just makes for overall good,
So how often should you actually clean your sneakers? Like everywhere, once a week? Like what would you suggest?
Ideally, you should clean them after you take them off, but like who has that time? You know what I mean? So I would say like once a week if you can. I used to pick like Sundays was my day. I think you used to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Sundays was my day where I should just clean all my sneakers.
Your
Not
rotation,
all
yeah.
of them, but
Yeah,
my
your
rotation.
rotation.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I have so many shoes. I don't have a lot like that, but Sundays was like a good day for me. It just worked out that way. You're setting up the sneakers for the coming week, and then you're clearing everything out from the week prior. You know what I mean? So it's just a good thing to.
You treat it like a laundry day.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you're not gonna wear them for a while, then you can store them, and then they're clean. So when you're ready to pull them out, you got your outfit ready. Or if you get dressed from bottom up, like a lot of us do, you think like, oh, I do have some military fours. They're ready to go already. You don't have to worry about like, oh, I gotta
Right.
clean them up before I wear them. Because
Right.
you knew you was partying last weekend or that weekend in that pair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then who likes pulling dirty shoes out the box? Like when you already thinking like, okay, cool, I'm putting my fit together, like you said, from the feet up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you pull them out the box and they're like still soiled from the last time you wore them.
Exactly.
So that cleaning day, it's like cool, like you said, it's prep time.
Exactly.
And that
exactly.
brush, that eraser, is like you said, you haven't really used any water for real on this way, and it's really coming out already.
Right, exactly. So this is looking really, really good. So the next part I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this mud around the toe box. And then I'm going to just suds up the upper some. Then we should be pretty crispy. So I want to get some of these bits off of here before,
Right,
because it's
okay.
going to make super muddy water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this same brush again, and then we're going to like get out much more of this Actually, that's not working at all. Let's use this harder brush. There we go. And again, like it's not no water. I haven't even put solution in the water yet. This is all just like dry cleaning stuff. Yeah, so I don't even think for this clean, I'm gonna have to really wet this hard brush because again, I don't want to mess up the paint and all that stuff. And we're not doing like a crazy deep clean on this shoe. It's just more of a spot clean. So if somebody, was in the shop or whatever the case is, they brought these in, they wanted a deeper clean, and we'll knock out the bottoms and all that stuff, for the sake of time, we're just going to knock out all the visible pieces.
And then, like, speaking on time, right, like, how much time, right, does it take on average, do you say, to, like, dry clean, spot clean, a pair of kicks?
It depends. I say if you take, like, 20, 30 minutes out of your day to, like, freshen up your pair, like, just kind of get into them, the more small, say 15 to 25 minute sessions you have, the less 45-minute to hour sessions you're going to have, because you've been maintaining the shoe. And that's the whole thing, right? Like, it's just, like a car, if you do the scheduled maintenance, then you're not going to have like the future problems. So if you keep these up and you wear them is a part of the maintenance too, because anything with knocky air in it, exposed air, it's eventually going to crumble, but the more you wear them, the more you're conditioning the sneaker too. So wearing them is a part of the care process, but also keeping them up. So whether you carrying wipes with you to wipe off any spots, this is a good sneaker to have wipes with, or you got a sponge and you hitting them up once a week, just that normal care is going to help them just last a lot longer, and it's going to stop you from having to spend a whole lot of time to clean them.
And so we got the midsole pretty much clean. We took care of some of the suede. Now we're just we're
about to do just a quick light clean. I think these just need like a once over, a suds up, then a wipe down. We got some stuff on the toe box right here on that gray that's supposed to be white.
Right.
And then we just got a couple spots up here, but that dry cleaning worked wonders for the sneaker. So now I'm just going to add a couple drops of solution to the water. You don't have to go too crazy. We're going to take the soft brush. I don't think we got to go crazy on that. I'm going to dip it.
And even with this, you don't want to overdo it with the water still, right? Yeah.
No, there's a such thing as like over cleaning your sneakers, especially if there's a suede. Every time you clean the suede, it changes a little bit, because it gets stiff, and you want to make sure that you are maintaining it. So that's why the dry cleaning process is so important, because all you're doing is just switching the fibers back and forth opposed to like wetting it. And the good thing about this particular cleaner from a shoe knitter, it has some natural properties in it like a coconut oil, and it's going to help condition the sneaker. So you're not just wetting it, and you're actually helping it
conditioning.
You're conditioning, right. You know what I mean? So it's extending the life of the fabric. Some sneakers are too harsh. This one is perfect. And then you get the right amount of lather, I swear, every time with just, a couple squirts. You know what I mean? So now that we gave it a good wipe down, I'm just going to get out all the moisture that I can. And then when we get to the suede, I'm going to dab and twist all the moisture out, and then it's going to dry. And then once it dries, you want to take the dry eraser again and then just kind of go over it, make sure that you lift up the suede and get it back moving, and then from there we got a crispy military blue Jordan 4 again, or industrial blue,
and they're looking like good again already.
Oh yeah, for sure. And technically, if I wasn't talking, these would have been done,
Right.
But I'd be distracted sometime. But yeah, no, these are looking good.
And speaking on like the fibers of like the suede, right? How you are saying like we dry cleaned it first, we got everything out of it. The next step was like, cool, let's like actually hit it, lather it up, And you saying like once it dries, we're going back in with
pretty much doing the same thing again,
right?
Yep.
Because you want to lift the fibers of the suede.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Another pro tip to know is while it's drying, you can take a clean like medium or dry brush, and you can just like kind of brush it dry. So what it's gonna do is it's not gonna allow the suede to like get stiff and to stop.
You want the fibers to have that motion, right?
Exactly.
It's like a natural fiber.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just gonna hit this a little bit during the drying process, and then we're gonna be good. And then when they dry, I might not even have to go back over it because I never let it settle. You know what I mean? Like even if you gotta do something to the laces, the good thing is the sooner you catch it, the easier it is. Like that's the biggest thing. When you let it sit for a long time, that's when it becomes a problem. You know what I mean? That small stain becomes a big one. You know what I mean? And then it's just harder to work with. But because we caught these very quickly, then we were able to get to all the stains before they became like problem. Like, this is what I would call good dirt that was on here. Like, we had good dirt on here, and everything is gone. We had all that dirt around the midsole, around the outsole, and then those things came out pretty well. So I definitely recommend just like regular cleanings, quick spot checks, all that stuff, you know, and we'll get into all those things in the future. But for right now, using the sponge for rejuvenator was fire. And got rid of like pretty much almost everything, you know what I mean, to start. And then the dry cleaning on the suede was huge. So that way we didn't lose any movement. The quality of the suede was still up. And then we got rid of all the dirt and grime before we even got to the heavier part. And even the dry brushing of the outsole helped do that. So then we didn't make a big puddle of mud around the sneaker, which leads to just a lot more cleaning. You know what I mean? It's kind of unnecessary, you know. So I think just taking your time and also enjoying that too, you know what I mean? The process of that, like, it's nothing like having a dope sneaker that you really enjoy. And it's like washing your car. How satisfying is it to sit outside one day and wash your car the next day? You know what I mean? I look at this as the same thing. Yeah. So it's really dope.
Now just letting them dry, right? Leave them sit out.
You're just gonna let them dry. They might need a little bit of brush around the suede after that, but other than that, these are crispy and ready to get back out there.
So you mentioned that the laces got a little dirty too, right? Not nothing too crazy, but like, what's the pro tip on like actually cleaning laces?
Yeah, so you can get away with like a spot cleaning laces. Like, we had a spot right here, and all I did was like get some solution on it, kind of get it to a place you can put some pressure on it, scrub it, wipe it off. Any other tiles, if they're crazy, you can take a bowl of water, get some solution in there, drop them in there, scrub it, run them through a towel to wring them out, let them air dry. If you have like a shop where you like a pro, you can let them dry inside of a UV box if they're light, and then it'll help with the staining and stuff like that too. But there's a number of ways. Also, the old school way of just like dropping them in some water, you know, a little bit of cleaner and a little bit of bleach if they're white is also a good thing too. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Just don't want to overdo anything, you know. So again, just a little bit of solution, some water, get them in there, scrub them up, and wring them out, then you good. I'm Clue, and that is another pair clean.
Check us out at Clean Sneaker Care for more sneaker lifecycle tips, and keep an eye out on the StockX YouTube channel.
Thanks for watching StockX 101. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.